Hello everyone, this is Iron Mark III, and welcome back to my spacious living accommodations. This is back on Infinifactory, with Armpits of Iron and Intercourse Magazine, my only companions. Playing on Superhot actually got me back into puzzling a bit, so I thought, hey, let's go back on Infinifactory for a bit. No, I'm not going to be doing a series on this. But while playing a bit through this, I came across Meat Production Type 101, which made me just, you know, kind of look at it and go, what the heck is going on with that? That's just how it worked out, so I thought, hey, I'll do this, I'll put some solutions together and I'll show you. Just because. I've actually done two solutions. I've done one for best footprints I can manage on blocks, so I've got 51 blocks way down there at the bottom end of the curve, and I've built one for very efficient production, which is where this 95 cycles comes in, which actually beats most people doing it, so yay me. But the reason I wanted to show you this, Hello Solution 2, is because I am Iron Mark III, Slayer of Whales, apparently. So this is very much a what the heck, what's going on kind of situation. So I thought, hey, once I've done this, I'll record it, I'll show it off, see what people make of it. This is my 95 blocks pattern. The idea here is that basically it uses as few blocks as possible to produce what it needs to supply all the demands. And this is the absolute minimum setup that I worked out. Not much you can do back here, but over here I've got these grinders, I've got spaced conveyors which will pass things over, and that is about it, really. With every whale, this thing just drills a section straight through its heart, pulls out a single shaft of meat, and the rest of it kind of gets just shoved aside and ignored, basically. Hopefully while the whale is already dead. Probably is, because it's just torn such a big hole in it, but you know. That's all it does. And then each whale that comes through, this system produces a total of 2 blocks of meat. 1 red block, 1 white. So it's very, very inefficient in terms of whales lost. I'll just start this up. See, it's just tearing straight through there. The rest of the whale goes up, and this shaft is pulled in. It tears through what's there, and since this is minimum blocks, I've even torn out the intermediate conveyors where they aren't needed. So it dumps all the meat on the ground, basically, until it can push through. And then it does the same with the finished meals too, so if you like your meals dirt covered and left sitting for God knows how long in an alien environment, this is the place to make your food. And it's just stacking rotting whale carcasses up high, like that. I would accelerate it and show you it doing that, but because it doesn't get rid of anything, this is actually incredibly inefficient. In fact, it's lagging the game already because of how many mobile blocks there are being pushed around. So yeah. If I hit fast forward, then yeah, the frame rate really goes to hell and it's only going to get worse, so let's hit the pause button. Yep, it's not even doing anything, so I'm going to stop it. Yeah. This system, absolute minimum blocks, but it just completely corrupts the game as far as speed is concerned. Don't get it wrong, it can finish the thing, and it has, because that's why it's recorded the cycle times for it, but it lags so much there's no point. I'll go back into the cell and show you the first solution I came up with, which is the absolute grinder one. I mean, look at that. 771 cycles for that solution I just showed you, compared to 95 for this one. Welcome to the whale slaughtering machine. This thing is actually far more efficient than that previous setup, and it's also far larger as well, and more complex, as you can see. The base of this is, I want it to harvest as much as possible from every single whale. I always use maximum speed input as a matter of course, that's just how I am. But how this does is it extracts multiple cores depending on where it is in the whale. So it's just effectively tears out half the whale immediately and kills it. And then it's fed into this entire sorting system, which will separate the purely white meat chunks, which is the surface layers, along with any red meat chunks, which are sent off in this direction here. Now, I've had to split white meat between two separate sides of the assembly because there's so much of it coming off. And with red meat, it destroys any white still attached to it, and it cores out the bones as well. I found once that if you actually dig into the red meat, some of it's got bone in it, and if you then make a boned meal with the red meat, it actually is a failure, it doesn't want it. So I've had to destroy those as well. But basically this uses as much of every whale as possible, as fast as possible. And in fact the limiting factor of this entire setup is the two processing machines down here which convert them into meals. That's the only thing slowing it down. So yeah, let's feed some whales into this thing. Just tears it apart, as you can see. Now, it's got the tail coming in already. It's feeding the underside and belly of the whale just through here. And it is taking the upper flesh and face straight through into this section here, where some more grinders are separating all the blocks just so that it's individual pieces of white meat. You've got to destroy blocks to separate them. There's no other way to do it, unfortunately. At least, not with the blocks I've actually got available. Maybe there will be one later. Now, red meat is just starting to emerge into the red meat processing, so I'll let it go for a little bit. Show you that. Last piece of white. Now, the reds all filters together into this arrangement here, and then it drops them down. Look, there's one of the bones I was talking about. It drops it all down like that. The next text comes through, and then these drills separate all the red meat like that, and it's just a flow of meat. The red, there's nothing else to it. It just feeds straight into the machine, which then separates and feeds it into the supply chain. No problem. The whites, it can be a slow point moving things onto a separate line like this, or around a corner. So I've got this one loading 3 at once, which it then drops straight into position above this line here. So this thing has constant feed as well. See, it's going straight in there. You can see how this entire line is pausing every time. But the truth is, I'm harvesting far too much meat from the whale, and the machines can't actually keep up with it. So that actually reduces the number of whales I'm slaughtering, I must admit. But yeah, this machine is completely awash with meat now. And it's actually jammed up because it can't process it fast enough. But you can also see it's going much more effectively, and it's actually just finished already. It's that much faster. So yeah, it's got a high footprint score, unfortunately. It's towards the high end in footprint, it's very much towards the high end in blocks, but it is so flippin' fast. And that is the specialty of this design. Fast processing, as well as efficient processing. But at the end of the day, I'm still Iron Mark III, Murderer of Whales. And that is how I do it. Let's accelerate this just to show it. Yeah, it just spawns them in, forces them onto the drills, does it all through, and I can actually see a bit where I forgot part of the process. Ugh, hang on. Because one thing to deal with when it comes to actually running through the top speed is you've got to put breakers on the ends, like this, to stop things like meat overflow and resources getting lost and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I redid that side at some point and forgot to do it, so that's why there was some meat piling up at the side of the conveyors over there. I mean, I've done it everywhere else, so there's no point. Let's go ahead and feed that through again. There we go, yeah, that's perfect. It's not dropping anything anymore. It's just tearing whales apart and feeding them straight in. It's not affected the speed, but it's increased the footprint slightly. So yeah. That's how you murder whales in an efficient fashion. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, really. So this is Iron Mark III. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I murder massive defenseless animals. And now leave me alone, because I want to relax and watch Armpits of Iron on my non-existent VHS tape player. Yeah. I'll catch you next time.